Hello everyone, welcome to Timsy Naked Tarots, welcome to Signs on Sundays, or should I say Dreams and Signs on Sundays, as I have now retitled it. Okay, we are up to L. For L, I have chosen a leprechaun. Okay, it's a mythical creature, such it could be classed as a fairy folk, something like that. To start with, as always, I would just like to point out your signs and your synchronicities are unique to you. What I see as a leprechaun, you might not see as a leprechaun, as the signs and things which come from my visions of a leprechaun may differ from the visions you have of your leprechaun and the signs you get from yours. But we are going to cover them. Okay, so my first thoughts about leprechauns were that of luck, wealth, and the Irish. Because, well, leprechauns are strongly linked to the Irish and Ireland, which I will actually probably mention 2 or 3 times within this video. And so I'm going to change things up a bit. I have noticed that in my my videos, as I normally do these, I try to mix in the signage and the history all at the same time. And I've thought about it for a little bit, and you lot don't really come here for the history. You have probably hundreds of different YouTube people who deal with the history of things, and you go to them for that, which is fair enough. And you come here for the signs because the title says Signs on Sunday. Fair enough. So we're going to try to deal with all the signs first, or some signs first, before I delve into the history of leprechauns a little bit. So I'll do the history of it towards the end. The signs of what leprechauns may mean, depending on how you get the signs, but let's just speak generally about them, could mean being grounded, because a leprechaun is an earth spirit or elemental. So it means you kind of like, everything's grounded around a leprechaun. Okay. Leprechauns can also indicate ego and judgment issues. Okay, this comes around, they have a huge pot of cold, apparently. Yeah, well, that gives them a bit of an ego as well, doesn't it? Yeah. I'm saying yeah a lot, aren't I? Yeah. And they give their gold to people. Well, that requires the judgment. The fact that they have ego and judgment also kinds of takes them out of the realms of a spiritual thing, because a spiritual thing doesn't really have ego or judgment. It is there to guide you with your ego and judgment, which sort of suggests that a leprechaun is in a subcategory of some description. So, with all that taken into account, you may think of the wealth of a leprechaun. Okay, they have a pot of gold. Well, but this pot of gold is often seen as a pot of gold, but what it actually is referring to is an abundance of something. And it's suggesting that you may have a need of an abundance, not so much of a want of abundance. Yeah, so you may need gold or finances more than wanting them, or it could be the other way around. Their pot of gold could actually be a sign that you need love in your life and not the finances, because we are dealing with what you actually need and not what you want when it comes to their pot of gold. It is also a confirmation that you are entitled to or can accept the wealth being offered to you by the leprechaun. You could see it as a universal reward for something you have gone through. You've gone through some sort of karmic lesson or something, and I'm going wrong way in my notes. I was going back to last week's one. Some sort of karmic reward or something like that. Okay. They're also connected with fun and laughter. They are very tricky and mischievous little fairy folk. Very much like Loki from the Norse mythology, the trickster god. And possibly, again, this pot of gold, this wealth they offer you, could just be a lure, okay, to bring you in. being linked, as I said, I will mention it more than once in this video, being linked to Ireland, and the Irish in particular, the leprechauns appear to be lucky, and they bring luck to those who are around them. I don't know if being Irish and from Ireland, or Ireland itself, is the thing what creates the luck, or the fact that the leprechauns are, I don't know, it's their home area, I suppose is the best way to describe it, and they bring the luck to that area. But either way round, it creates sayings like the luck of the Irish and things like that. I don't really know how lucky Irish people are. I'd imagine they're about as lucky as everyone else in the world. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. To dream of leprechauns could mean you're finally getting a payoff for the hard work you're putting in, or the hard work you're putting in is for like will pay off in time. Someone mischievous may be entering your life, or on another side of that, maybe something mischievous will be happening in your life. Now, this could be you being mischievous, or someone or something else being mischievous around you. They dreaming of leprechauns can also mean that you are a very loyal person, and you may become rich soon. And I just dropped my notes on the table. That does not help. Right. Okay. Or perhaps you're being forced into or tricked into submission of some description. When the leprechaun offers you the pot of gold, it comes with a catch. Okay, it's not just a here's my pot of gold, off you go. Sometimes you have to submit to the leprechaun's needs and wants to acquire that wealth. Okay, if you get a leprechaun sign in specific places or specific areas within the dream, so for instance, if you always see, I don't know, a rainbow over a certain area, and obviously rainbows are connected to leprechauns. Apparently the way they're connected to leprechauns is leprechauns love the colour green, and as the rain ends and the sun starts to come out, it creates a rainbow, and it also is when everything is at its most lush, fresh and greenish within the world. Thus the leprechauns appear at the end of the rainbow with their pot of gold. So if you ever see the rainbow in the same place repeatedly, or you dream of leprechauns in a certain specific area all the time, this is indicating there is something of great interest to you in that area. Now, yes, it might be buried treasure. Yes, it might be, I don't know, a crop circle. You won't really ever know until you start looking around for it, or taking on other signs and incorporating them with your leprechaun sign. If the leprechaun is asleep or is sleeping in an environment when you get your sign of your leprechaun, like your office, for example, this means that there will be success there. Okay, so if you were dreaming of a sleeping leprechaun in your office, it means whatever you're working on is going to be successful. If you dreamt of a sleeping leprechaun in your car, it means that you're going to have some success with your vehicle in one way or another. Maybe you put it through its MOT or whatever your local test is called, and it passes with flying colours. Okay, so that was sleeping leprechauns. Oh, and talking about sleeping leprechauns, if you have leprechauns, I'm jumping. If you have leprechauns in your bed, this is an indication that there could be some sort of sexual blockage of some description. Okay, maybe there's a certain thing you would like to do sexually and your partner is not entertaining the idea, or won't entertain the idea, and your leprechaun sign will be saying that they won't entertain the idea, don't even go down that road, sort of thing, or something like that. When it comes to bad leprechauns or evil leprechauns, this is not necessarily a bad a sign as you may first think. It actually means that you are in control of the situation around you, or you are feeling comfortable within your your own skin or your own lifestyle. You're happy about how everything is. Okay. A dead leprechaun killing a leprechaun, or a leprechaun which is going around killing other things. Now, this is a little bit of a red flag, shall we say. It's not bad. It's not a bad thing, but it is linked to a bad thing. It's an indicator that you may be indulging in bad habits, or letting a bad habit take control of your life, or you're starting to go down the wrong road, or something like that. Okay then, well, this has turned into be really quick. A little bit of history, okay, for you leprechaun lovers. Obviously, yeah, as I've before mentioned a couple of times now, the leprechauns are associated with Ireland. Okay, now I'm going to add a few notes into my notes as I talk about this, because Ireland is the key place in the world where you find the DNA of the original English folk. Okay, the people who were in England and colonizing England and living in England, or Britain and Scotland, Wales, Ireland, before the Romans invaded. Okay, because that's where sort of kind of like history, modern history, written history starts from, because the Romans had quite extensive writings, and they kept track of their history and the events of what's going on at the time when they were there. So before that, obviously, there were natives in England. Now, these natives quite often would fight against the Romans, and the main combatants against the Romans when the Romans invaded were the Druids. Now, the Druids literally got apparently wiped out at Anglesey, just before Boadicea went and invaded Londinium. Okay, and the Roman army had to then traipse right from the west coast of England right back to their capital of London. That's what Londinium is, what London was called back in the Roman times. Ironically, Anglesey was still called Anglesey. Yeah, get that. But anyway, they went over and they wiped out the Druids. Now, the Druids could very well have emigrated over to Ireland. From Anglesey to Ireland, it's not that much of a stretch of imagination. That they used some boats, crude fishing boats or something like that, and they got to Ireland and they colonized Ireland. But the fact that the leprechaun has such a strong rootage in Ireland would suggest that the leprechaun legends and stories actually predate all the Romans. Okay, leprechauns may have stories all over the world called different things, but I didn't really look into what else leprechauns are called, and I haven't done my normal one of what leprechauns were like in whatever country. Okay, because I'm trying to keep the history a little briefer and the signs more in depth. But I would say that they predate the Roman histories, which would put them predate Celtic times and put them more into a Druidic time. And, well, that could be where all the luck comes from, because the Druids, sort of their so-called magic and things, all came from nature, the elements. You've heard the sayings like knock on wood, touch wood, and things like that. That is the different types of trees. Druids believed that the different trees would have different energies. For instance, if you want strength and durability, you would make an offering or touch an oak tree and the like. And so that's where those sort of saying come from. And obviously there would have been a tree for luck, and they would have had the fairy folk what probably tended to every tree, and then you sort of work with them within your magic making as a druid. Now, the places you may find leprechauns, if you were to go and hunt leprechauns, are places like woodlands, forests, and swampy areas. Mainly because they are an earth element and an earth spirit, if you will. They kind of get their power, their energy from the earth. They get it from nature. Okay, again, put into druidic type of magic instead of other types of beliefs and things. I thought my son was then sticking his arm up to ask me a question, but he was just stretching. Okay, so that you would find them in these places because there is an abundance of wildlife and the like, and the fact that they are also very green, and the leprechauns have a strong attachment to the colour green. After all, Ireland is called the Emerald Isle. Another connection. I'm not going to say coincidence, but clearly it's not, because there's no such thing as coincidence when you start talking about spirit, nature, and all that sort of stuff. It's all connected. It's all happening for a reason. So that's where I'm going to end this one. It's a little 15-minute one. It's nice. Not every sign on Sunday have to be dragged out for 35 minutes. I could have delved a lot deeper into the history and droned on for longer, but as I said, you don't really come here for the history of things. You're more here for what the signs mean. So as a quick sort of gloss over of the signs, for those of you who have hung around to the end of my video, you will just watch me hiccup on my video. Fantastic. And I don't edit shit out. The signs are generally about an abundance of stuff you need, not necessarily stuff you want, success and things going well for you, warnings that you may be going down the wrong path, and warnings of not being caught into contracts of various descriptions by the lure and promise of something better. Okay, I've literally just tried to nutshell them all into just 4, and I think I've done quite well. Okay, hopefully you have all enjoyed this Signs on Sunday. If you want it to be a longer Signs on Sunday, feel free to drop it in the comments. Feel free to say it in the chat, because this will be a premiere like always, and I should still learn to mention this at the beginning, not at the end of the video, because I've hardly got anyone watching now, where I had more people watching at the beginning. But anyway, feel free to drop anything you want in the comments. Feel free to drop a suggestion for, well, anything you want looking into, okay, in indications of signs. I will tell you now, I have had a request for S. We are going to be doing spiders for S, and the kind of the 3 areas I will go delving in for what I'm doing signs on currently at the moment will be mythical creatures, so to speak, like a leprechaun, or a dragon, or a unicorn. Real life creatures like spiders, eagles, narwhals, and things, places, that sort of stuff. Like, I don't know, have I done any yet? Like gateways, gutters, clothing. There you go. There's just 3 random ones off the top of my head. I don't mean I am actually going to cover any of them. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I'm planning on going through this at least 3 times to cover all 3 topics with the alphabet. So that was, what, 78 different things I will go through. We are only up to L, so we have plenty of time to keep going through these. Last little bit, which I have saved right till the end, basically, is you may have noticed, as this is a live, there is super chat stickers now available. There are super chats now available, and they are obviously you have to pay for them. I will put it out there. I've opened it up because, well, some people like to just say a thank you with I don't know, a 5p here, a 20p then, or 5p, 20p. I don't know how much the super stickers and things cost. I've never done one. Super chats, I think they start at about £2. But I'm pretty sure you can drop them down to whatever limit you want them. The more money you put on a super chat, the longer they stay up in the chat, and the more characters you can use to write your message. You can write a message with a super chat as well, and it hangs around in the chat longer than all the others. In my particular videos, that does not really need doing, but if, for instance, I have thousands of you in the chat room, and you are all chatting away at the same time with each other and with me, then using a super sticker or a super chat is very effective if you have a question you want answered, because then it hangs around, it comes in a big highlighted box and things, and fair dues. I will be starting a membership soon, but I'm still working on that one. I'm still reading all the terms and conditions of it. I'm reasonably busy. Yes, some of my busyness is sitting around doing nothing, but that's my downtime. I'm allowed it. Okay, I work hard and I do this on the side, and I do have a little bit of time where I sit and do nothing. My recharge, I recharge my batteries both spiritually and physically. Okay, thank you all for watching. Hopefully I will catch you all throughout my standard normal signed readings I do, and any special readings I do throughout the weeks. I will be cracking on with the new moon in Cancer reading soon, which will be an all signs overview. It's going to be a general one, so we will just be basically generally dealing with whatever energies that full moon in Cancer, no, that new moon in Cancer is going to bring you all. I will tell you right now off the back that for some of you it's going to be dredging up old, deeply buried emotions. For others of you, it will be making you look at things from more emotional levels. For all of you, you will experience for maybe a few days just before and just after the new moon, you may even be experiencing it now, an influx of just general emotions. You might be getting upset for no reason. You might be laughing out loud for no reason, or not much of a reason. You might just think of a funny little thought and just start laughing out loud. And it's basically welcome to the world of Cancer, because this is what Cancerians go through all the time. Okay, 1 minute we can be as happy as Larry, and the next minute we can be crying over the fact that we just saw a squirrel fall out of a tree. It's perfectly fine. It got up and it ran off, but we'll be crying about it or wiping a tear, depending on how hard you hold back these emotions. But yes, Cancerians, we are a cauldron of emotions, and it all just depends on what bubbles up at what time. Hope you all have a wonderful week. I hope to see you all next Sunday for my Signs on Sunday, and look after yourselves.